Welcome back to Sunrise. It is 6 minutes past 8. We are turning our attention now to the national conference. We're joined now by Mathew Istekure, who is the former spokesman for Itsekiri National Youth Council. Thank you for coming on this morning.
My pleasure.
Well, you've heard them say that, look, this national conference will not be about ethnic nationalities. It will just be a national conference where you just come for groups coming up, representing different regions and communities in the country, present the issues that exist. How is that for you?
Well, for me, I think that one's deceitful.
Deceitful?
Yes,
Why?
It is deceitful. First, what makes up the country? The soul of this country has to do with the ethnic nationalities. That's the soul of the country. Has been espoused by the renowned lawyer, constitutional lawyer, Professor Ben Wambose. Said the soul of this country has to do with the ethnic nationalities. And so for somebody to just say, let us forget about these people, I mean, it's not just fair, it's deceitful as far as I'm concerned. More so, why it has become more worrisome. Why it has become more worrisome has to do with what I want to describe in these questions I have formulated, in appreciating how deceitful this process is. Now, let them tell us what kind of rationality in the circumstance could be behind the complete exclusion of an ethnic nationality with the highest contribution of natural resources to the nation's cost. That's question one. Two, why is it that the only time in the history of a delegate conference of this nature that an Itsekiri being a governor as well as a Niger Delta being a president, it's when the Itsekiris are excluded? Three, have the Itsekiris been extinct from this country called Nigeria? And if the answer is yes, which means they are giving us a fillip to go ahead somewhere else. We are talking about a national delegate conference that wants to determine the life of the well-being of the people of this country.
Well, did you make all of this recommendations or complaints now to the office of the secretary of the government and some other people who were actually in charge of this before the names were released?
Quite frankly, to be very precise, on the 28th of October 2013, at the session of the panel set up, the advisory committee set up by the president under Senator Femi Okurum in Benin, we had made a proposition because we long saw this kind of scenario that was going to play out. And on that occasion, we made a solemn presentation. And let me quote one section of that presentation with me. That the dialogues to conference should be composed of such number of delegates from ethnic nationalities officially gazetted as an ethnic group by the federal government of Nigeria or by each of the 36 states of the federation prior to the announcement of this conference, provided that no ethnic group shall be represented by more delegates than the other ethnic group. Once an ethnic group has been selected on this basis from a state, that same ethnic group shall not be again selected as from another state. Delegates from each of these ethnic groups shall hold consultative fora with their constituents and collect views that will constitute the position at the conference. At the level of the consultative forums, delegates shall ensure that views of all segments of the group are heard and deliberated upon, and the most popular of these are then documented as a position of the group. Now, we are talking about excluding a major contributor to the national economy, a major contributor to the national purse.
Are you suggesting that all the other groups, because the governors also will be nominating delegates to this conference, including governors from the region, so are you suggesting then that all those that they will nominate and all those that will be at that conference will not touch on issues that affect you?
The truth of the matter is that in my place there's an adage. There's an adage in my place that is saying, another man's eye cannot see the road for somebody else. I mean, come to think of it, if it is not deceitful, a tribe that has long been known the world over. Let me give you an instance, or several instances. In 1958-59 pre-independence conference that gave birth to the country called Nigeria, not less than 3 prominent Itsekiris were at that conference. These people are Chief Atopres, Chief Rhys Eduku, Chief Okotiebo, Festus Okotiebo. And don't forget, these are people that are associated with First. For instance, after that pre-conference, and Nigeria was giving birth to, the first foreign affairs minister of this country was taken from this tribe. His name is Chief Atopres, who flew the flag around the world. Flag of Nigeria around the world.
Let me ask you something, because studies has actually shown that there's a particular community that we have always seen on our news that we've covered, and that's the Uborodo community. I think that's an Itsekiri community.
Yes.
Right, good. And you have so many people who have been claiming to be leaders in that particular community. There's a David Tonwe, Eriyo Tomi, Ayeri. Why haven't they, well, did they speak on that day in Benin City? Were they there? Because now you complain, and it looks like, well, it's already, coming so late.
Listen, that committee, that advisory committee was made principally to collate the views of these various sectors that you are mentioning now, right? And I've just mentioned to you there that we made a position. These people you just mentioned, they are part and parcel of Itsekiri. And so representations that were made at that forum will have also carried along their own opinion, right? Let us even think about this arrangement. That in a region, you said you have categorized the list of these delegates. You segmented them into different segments. And you are saying you don't find worthy any Itsekiri person to have
because none is based on ethnic affiliation or nationalities.
Where the delegates that have been nominated, where are they from? Are they from the moon?
They are not there.
Okay, now I think I'm getting your picture.
Almost
all the delegates.
Yeah.
Now you say, well, irrespective of what the government has said, that it won't be based on ethnic nationality. The delegates, for instance, from your state, none is of the Itsekiri extraction. Is that
exactly? That's what I'm saying. And I'm saying also that we are pained because we are a major contributor to the resources of this country. And I believe that the country owes us a duty to have been given that opportunity to come and know and discuss what the future of our lives will be. Don't forget that this conference is going to talk about devolution of powers. It's going to talk about resource control. It's going to talk about federalism. All right? And you are saying a major contributor of this nature to the resources of this country be excluded, and we should sit back and clap hands for the people?
When you started, you said something about your governor, the governor of your state being an Itsekiri man. That's what you said.
Yeah.
Isn't that what you said?
Yeah.
So why is it that you're not taking your complaints? Because the governor still has to nominate delegates from the state. Why would you take your complaints to ensure that people of Itsekiri extraction are part of the delegates from your state?
Listen, I merely mentioned the governor as an Itsekiri man, not because I wanted to make it a point, right? What I'm saying is that the governor, all this while, have demonstrated that is a detribalized Delta. Unlike every other person who will just say, yes, this opportunity, let me take full advantage, let me even pad this entire list with my own people.
Okay.
Right.
Sorry, if I may stop here. Now, the governor has been a detribalized governor.
Yes.
And you've been very happy about that. Now, the delegates that have been named already, that have been nominated so far, were not nominated based on their ethnicity, ethnic extraction. They are nominated based on their professions, based on their groupings, different associations and all of that. So why are you insisting that ethnic groups be brought in again?
I will not agree on that, your proposition. The reason being that...
It's not my proposition, it's what's out there.
Good. Now, I will not agree because everybody that has been so nominated, in one way or the other, whether you like it or not, represents the interest of an ethnic nationality. After all, everybody must have come from one ethnic nationality or the other. Or are you telling me that a situation where, for instance, like the South delegates, for instance, where a number where a number of 13, come just a minute.
Are you suggesting that even the elder statesmen?
Yes, the allocated numbers to the South people is 15, right? 15 delegates. Are you saying that in a region where we are located, a region where we contribute that much, we cannot be considered for a slot? Is that what we're saying? And that some ethnic nationalities have much more than 4 or 5 in these cases, and in other categories, as it were.
Flip the coin. You know, some other ethnic nationalities will also tell you that they have their own contributions to the nation's account. So they would want their own representation. Now, if each of these ethnic nationalities come up with their different demands for representation, how many people will be at that conference? How many ethnic nationalities are there in Nigeria, first of all? Do you know how many there are?
We have, well, from the records, we are told that we are well over 250.
Well over 200.
Yes.
But do you know that some other people say we are almost 700?
We are not up to 700. I said
some other people claim that we are almost 700 ethnic nationalities.
But from the records thus far, we are told that we are 250 ethnic nationalities.
Which year was this? This record is several years old, don't you think?
Well, I don't know whether God created another ethnic nationality after Nigeria was given birth. But at least for the records, we have well over 250 ethnic nationalities. And in any case, these persons you are mentioning, what are they bringing to this? I just mentioned to you some of the very key issues that will be discussed in this conference. And you are saying that as a major contributor,
what do you think?
that we should be excluded and we should clap hands for the people